Welcome to Aunty Lou's Hour. If you like this podcast, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Welcome to Aunty Lou's Hour. Wonderful, Ria. I was trying to think of something that begins with R. I love your name. Where does it originate from?
Actually, one of my classmates in grade school named me that because it's the first three letter of my name. So they took off three letters to make it more feminine.
Uh-huh. See, I've got dyslexia, and I think your name is spelled R-R-A. Is that how
ROA.
it's spelled?
It's
Yeah.
ROA, yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, darling, I'm so happy you're here. Can we get right into it? Let's talk a little bit about when you were younger. Like, where did it all start for you? Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Philippines. So I was born
Oh,
and raised in Philippines.
yeah.
Um, I'm a transgender. I'm the only
Uh-huh.
boy among the three, but now we're all three
Oh,
girls.
no.
Always have to have that name. But
Yeah,
I was lucky because I have very supportive parents. So I
yeah.
started
Oh,
my
that's good.
yeah. So I started my transition really young, about four.
Yeah,
I started taking my hormones. So that was about second year high school.
yeah.
Um, and then I studied in Philippines. I did history. And
Oh,
then I moved here in 2011 to study fashion design.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And then I trained in healthcare. I'm working as a healthcare assistant at the moment.
I
But
mean, I think, you hear so many stories of transgender people having quite a difficult time when they were young, meaning parents not supportive, parents not, accepting.
yeah,
But you're really lucky that your parents were so accepting.
well, I wouldn't say that I never had that
Of course.
moment that I had to struggle between, trying to stand up for who I
Yeah.
am against my parents.
Yeah.
But so when I was young, they've been very supportive. I've always been feminine, effeminate in a way.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I never played with guns or
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
cars or stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I've I've I was used to playing with dolls, and then they don't stop me from doing so.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
to compensate to that, I was good at school, so I tried to study hard. I'm always
Yeah.
in the honor student. I'm always an honor student. So I think it was only around after high school when I was studying in uni, and this is where my dad was starting to tell me off, like, why are your eyebrows so thin? I don't want
Oh,
your
yeah.
hair. I don't want you to grow your hair. So that's the struggle I had.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I tried to move out of the house,
Yeah.
just sneaky
Yeah.
stuff out and left without telling them at all. But I went to my
Yeah.
aunt.
You know,
It was just
so I just have to say, right, for cisgendered people, it's hard enough growing up, going through adolescence
yeah.
and just finding out who you are. But I could just imagine how
Mm.
lonely that must have felt if you never felt comfortable. I'm sort of putting words in your mouth, but maybe you never felt comfortable in your own skin because people say things like, oh, I didn't play with dolls or I didn't play with guns. And I understand that, but that's just part of it. Could you describe how that was for you, not feeling, what was it like not feeling
Yeah,
what,
it
trapped?
even though I said that I have a supportive family, but that was
Yeah,
quite later on my transition. So in the beginning,
yeah,
I I I used to hide myself really because I also
yeah.
grew up from a Christian family. So
Okay.
my religion has a very strong impact to how
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
raised. But at that time, I told myself, um, I know I'm different, and I always go and watch these beauty pageants of trans
yeah.
beauty pageants, and I just admire them. And there you are, I just keep having this self-talk that I'm going to be like that one day.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was a very isolating experience. But when you get to see other young adolescent trans women who are most of them, they had to leave the school because the school
Yeah.
has policies that is against hair, like hair inspection, uniforms.
Mm.
It was so harsh. Like you cannot go to the class when you don't cut your hair according
Yeah.
to. So yeah, that started that, I said one day I have to be good in school to be
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
prove to compensate, my other me being
Mm.
trans. So my
Mm.
parents won't see that. Instead, they would see
Yeah.
a child who's doing well at school.
Yeah.
But not everyone had that opportunity, and not everyone was able to stay in school and do
Mm.
well. So they had to. So it was such a difficult reality
Yeah.
I've witnessed.
So what about your sisters? How were they?
They're very well. They both have children already. They're both married.
Yeah.
I'm very close to the two of them. Um, yeah, I think we're all like sisters now. So they come to
Yeah,
me.
because when you were transitioning, or when you actually came out and said, you're trans, were they like surprised, or were they?
I never had that coming out moment.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
it's just I think they knew, although they knew
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the moment when I started growing my hair and I don't
Yeah.
want to cut it off. I'd rather you cut me off from the family instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I stood up for myself. So yeah, it was after a certain time, probably a year, my
Yeah.
parents cope really well, and then yeah, I they've accepted me, and
So-
I was able to bring my first boyfriend home
Ah.
and introduce him to my parents. So yeah, I think that was the coming out
So
moment.
so this was in Singapore.
No, the Philippines.
Oh,
I'm
sorry, Philippines. Sorry, Philippines.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
God, what a
yeah,
boo-boo. Philippines. And so like I know in London, I feel we're quite lucky in London when it comes to LGBTQ plus to, communities.
yeah.
And I just wondered how it was in the Philippines. Like, is it as diverse? Is there a large community?
I've
Did
al-
you see yourself represented?
Yeah, you know what? I've always been asked this question before because there's a really large population of transsexual or transgender people in Philippines. But so the way I explain it is that there's the difference between acceptance and tolerance. So Philippines is a society that's more tolerating instead of accepting. So
Yeah, yeah,
in Philippines, we do not have any law to protect us from being discriminated. For example, there's this law which is called the Soji Bill that's still never been passed at the Senate. So it's quite difficult, I would say. You can't change your gender marker, you can change your name, and
yeah,
you can't get married or have civil partnership. So compared here, I think when it comes to law, it's so much more progressive here. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, that's why I moved here. I've always known I'm gonna leave Philippines because I want to live my life as a woman and to
Yes.
be recognized as a woman, to have a partner
Yeah.
as a woman. This is where I'm going to make it happen. So it's so sad reality, such a sad reality for
Mm.
transgender people in Philippines.
But I'm really pleased because I hope that there are any other people that see themselves in you. Can I ask how old you are? Can I ask a lady how old she is?
I just turned 37
Oh,
last
wow.
yeah, I just turned 37 last Friday. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
still young.
wow.
Yeah.
So I saw you at a HIV conference,
Yes.
and what brought you there?
I'm sorry. What? Oh, what brought me there?
Yeah,
No, because since 2021, when I was diagnosed, I
yeah,
have been in touch with Positive UK, and so in the first 2 years, it was such a struggle. Of course, we all know that.
yeah,
But from 2023, at the beginning, of the year, I was invited to speak at the parliament to
Yeah.
launch the manifesto, which was a product of the previous conference.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from then onwards, I started working and working on my free time for Positively UK. I've been
Mhm.
involved in some of the projects that they have done. So yeah, I went to the conference and it was my first time. And yeah, I thought it was a beautiful gathering of people like you.
Yeah.
You meet a lot of I met you there.
Yeah, that's right. I remember I met you in the toilets. We were in the toilets, and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm so anxious. I'm so
I
nervous." And
was
I think I
so
said, "You're
nervous.
going to be great. You're going to smash it." And we just kind of connected, even though we didn't know each other.
I remember you because you asked a question about the Southeast Asian. After they talk about a certain, I think they launched one of they talk about one of the project and then you raised the question, so I saw you. That's it.
So, how was it for you when you found out you had HIV?
Oh, it was difficult. Seriously,
Yeah.
um I had it just after COVID, so it was difficult. Um, so until now, I don't really want to talk about because they always ask, how did you get it,
I
right?
don't like that question.
I
Yeah, it's
think that as well.
important.
But there's
You know,
only
I had sex, and that's how I got it. What more do you need to know?
exactly. So it was also around COVID. So I had I had COVID around 2020, December 2020. So
Mm.
after after 1 month, I was sick for 5 weeks and
Oh,
off sick,
wow.
yeah, for 5 weeks. But I decided I'm gonna have a clean slate in 2021, and I had all my tests, and I did the online test first, and then it came back to me. So I was so mortified. But then we did a clarificatory test um, at St. Mary's, and then that's
Yeah.
it. So at that time, no one knew, and I couldn't cry in front of I couldn't cry in
Mm.
front of the nurses. So the moment I got out of the clinic, I had to call my sister. She's a nurse, so I'm sure she would
Mm.
understand. And yeah, for quite some time, I was dealing with it on my own quietly. My friends, my closest friends who are also my flatmates, they didn't know I had
Mm.
to hide my medication and
Yeah.
um my appointments online because at that time all the peer supports they were all done by telephone or
Yeah.
Zoom. So I was trying to hide everything. It was difficult.
So can I ask you? Sorry, go on. Go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, it was really, really very difficult. And that's why that's one of the reasons why I decided to come out
Yeah.
because I don't want I think I've turned the table quite quick.
Yeah.
And I think if I could be an inspiration to one or two or few transgender women who are suffering from the same things,
Yeah.
you know, I've done my purpose.
Well, I'm sure you will, darling, just by being there, and people can see themselves. And I just wanted to ask you, why did you feel that you had to hide?
Because at the time, I don't know. At the time, I know enough, but not. I know
Yeah.
quite a lot about it, but not
Mm.
enough. So there's that stigma, of course, that
Mhm.
was around it, and of course the internal stigma that I was also dealing with. Um, I don't know. I just feel like it was the end of my life. To tell
Yeah.
you the truth,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've first I am a transgender, and it's difficult
Mm.
to. I remember it's difficult. This was the way how my mind was working at the time. So I was a transgender. I've been married. I don't have a
Mm.
partner yet. That time, broke
Mm.
up with a boyfriend. I
Mm.
sort of difficult to be in a relationship. And then on top of that, I have this. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, that's why part of my speech at the conference
Yeah.
that who will love me.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
all the goals and all the dreams I had at that time were like falling down, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just broken. Yeah, it was just too
Do
much.
you know what? Roa, yeah. I really relate to you because when I found out I was living with HIV, I felt that, the time I didn't know a lot about it. All I knew is that people die from it, and it's something that people that have lots of promiscuous sex have, but it's nothing to do with me.
Mhm.
And and for me, it was the fact that I was a woman, you were a woman, you
Yeah,
know, um, and also the fact that, I was Black. And
yeah,
I felt that people would judge me or stereotype me, because I'm different. I've got all these layers and I'm a single mother. So so the judgment that I felt was the stigma that I felt was self stigma, that I stigmatized myself.
yeah.
Because when I came out, you know what you just said there about who will love me?
Mm,
I felt like that for 10 years. Like I didn't say nothing.
yeah,
Who would love me? You know? And you felt similar. You for all who would love me.
yeah. I feel like,
How
yeah, I feel like I think it's like you. I also came from um different minority backgrounds. So I'm trans,
Yeah.
I'm Asian, I'm this and that. But it's just that the it's difficult because y- on top of instead of just thinking about my first concern is thinking about my health. I was
Mm.
thinking about, oh my God, who would accept me for this? I
Yeah,
think I said
yeah.
that sentence already. And at that time, I used to have two friends who were positive and who confessed to me. And despite knowing that they're doing well, and I had a friend who died into 2017 as well. So
Mm.
me, at the back of my head, it was just like I'm heading the same direction. Um,
Yeah.
but it all so it took me a while to deal with that and to to really accept myself completely. I think it was the moment when I started talking about my story, and then I started listening to other people's story, that I started to feel more empowered, and that kind of changed the way I look at it. And I remember one of my mentor at the time, and she said that um like when I feel like I'm being promiscuous, or when you judge, when I judge
Yeah, I know.
myself.
Because I'm from a Catholic upbringing. My parents
So
was Catholic.
yeah, but because how did you get it? You had sex, and sex is
Yeah,
always
yeah,
a taboo. So when I feel like that, I always tell myself, you've just done the most natural way of making love. you know
yeah,
it's just
yeah,
natural way. Um and then it's just a tiny this virus is just a tiny part of your
yeah.
being. It's just a very, very tiny part of you. It shouldn't and should never define you. So those are the ones that were running on my head whenever I beat myself up.
Mm.
But it's like trust me, no matter how empowered you are, it's like a cycle, right? One moment you
Yeah,
feel up, and then you feel so confident, and then another moment you feel down. Just
yeah,
you just have to pick yourself up and catch yourself whenever you see yourself, beating yourself up.
yeah. How, I know you kind of sort of talked about this, that you saw some people talking about HIV and it kind of empowered you to kind of get up and talk. But how did you find the strength? You've been through a lot.
Yeah.
How did you find the strength to kind of say, do you know what? I mean, I love myself enough and I'm okay. How
Yeah.
did you how did you get
Um,
there?
so I always say my support system was very important part of my journey. But my support system started from the external support. So
Mm,
I started because I didn't open up to my friends, my family sooner.
yeah.
But
Hmm.
because of the peer support that I received and the people that I met, the stories
Mm,
they told me that I resonate as well. And
mm,
that support gave me the strength to open up to my inner
Yeah.
circles, to my friends, to my family. And
Mhm.
now I have my support from my friends and my family.
Yeah.
That's what give me the strength to open up to the people I'm dating, people I'm seeing.
Mm.
I'm like, so now it's become, I become more confident when it comes to, I become strong that whatever comes to me, I can just flip my hair.
Flick it, flick it.
I still have moments. I would never deny that I still have moments when I feel down,
Of
especially when it
course.
comes to relationship. Sometimes
Yeah.
that's the part that I feel like defeated sometimes. But yeah,
Yeah.
all the strength I have came from the people around me as well. So if I put myself out here and
Mm.
for people to see, for those people who are still in silence, to
Mhm.
be able to accept themselves and speak up for themselves, then it's just like me giving back. I get the strength
Yeah.
from these people, and then I give you the strength so you can do the same thing. And it's just a keep, it just keep coming back. It's it is the best thing. I mean, I never had such support compared to, I've seen the trans community.
Yeah.
Always told myself, um, the support that you get within the HIV community is so much more solid.
Mm.
It's just, because we have this one common
Yeah.
experience.
Mhm.
No matter where you come from, whatever your background,
Yeah.
there's always that one common thing. It's like our heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So, I'm going to kind of digress slightly because I mean, like, there's so much more to you, and I'm just curious, what skincare do you use?
I'm sorry. What?
What skincare do you use? Like, what's your skincare
Oh my God, I
regime? I
don't know.
love your skin. It's so clear. I've only just discovered skincare, so I'm curious to know what you use.
I can we flag? I use Kojic soap, the orange soap,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
and L'Oreal Revitalift 40
Oh,
plus. I'm using the 40 plus, so it's stronger.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
But you have a beautiful
yeah,
skin. Look.
but do you know what? Can I tell you what I used to use? So I use, because my skin's quite dry, so I use like shea butter. You
Okay.
know, the shea, I don't know if you know the one, it's
Yeah, of course I
like
know. Yeah.
shea butter, yeah. And I use that on my skin and it's really heavy, but my skin's really dry. But recently, a friend of mine, shout out Patrina Brooks, she's a like a vlogger for skincare and stuff. And she told me about this Ordinary. Have you heard of
Yeah,
Ordinary?
actually, I'm gonna buy that soon. My
Ah,
friend is using that, the
yeah.
niacinamide, and yeah, I'm gonna try that soon because what I'm using right now, I have a very sensitive skin, so I can get pimples
Ah,
if I change. But my friend has a really beautiful skin, and she said
yeah.
she's only using Ordinary, which is good, I
So
think.
I only discovered it recently, and so I use this serum. So you wash your face and you put this
Yeah,
serum on, and then you put your whatever moisturizer you want to put on.
yeah,
And then on top of that, I put on this UV 50 plus factor, and it's what is it? Garnier. You know the Garnier
yeah,
sun
yeah.
sun kind of thing. And I quite like this regime. And I've just recently bought Ordinary like moisturizer.
Yeah, it's good. I'm going to try that soon, actually. I've been told
Yeah.
about that, but
Yeah.
I have, I
And
have, I have a lot of
uh,
things. I tried a lot of things before,
yeah,
so actually, no, my skin is not that great. I'm telling you.
try the Ordinary.
I
And
will.
your makeup, do you use different brands or what do you
No,
use?
I stick to Estee Lauder, my
Oh, Estée
foundation.
Lauder. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah.
and then
Do you
my
know what I discovered? I don't like um putting on makeup. It's just not me. I don't mind putting on
yeah.
lipstick and whatever. But I discovered this thing by Bobby Brown, and it's a skin tint.
Oh
And you
yeah.
just put a little bit in your hand and you rub it on like a tint, and that is it.
Huh.
So you
I
don't
know
need
which one.
foundation.
We'll
Hmm?
try that one. I will
Yeah,
try that one
yeah.
because
It
I don't I don't. I look different without makeup. Just kidding.
So, and tell me about what you like to do. Like, what's your hobbies, and what are you watching on Netflix? What are you watching on Netflix?
Oh my God. The last one I watched was Bridgerton.
Me too. Don't you just love it?
I'm a sucker for romance,
I
honestly.
love it. Do you? So tell me about romance. What's happening? Like, are you seeing anybody at the
Ooh.
moment? Ooh.
Yeah, well, I'm seeing someone.
Yeah,
So, and you know what? I am so happy to share this because when I saw him, I didn't tell him in the
yeah,
beginning. So it was funny because I had to be very creative to come out to him. I wrote a love
yeah.
letter.
Oh, that's
Oh,
nice.
I didn't tell right away. There's like hints and hints in the letter.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
asked him, "Did you read it?" And then he said, "Yeah, you did read it." So I'm like, I was a little bit confident. Probably he knew already.
yeah,
And it was so funny because you like this one because the moment I really came out to him,
mm,
it was the Pride last year.
uh-huh,
So I went to the Pride, and then in the evening I went to see him and spend time. We spent the last two Pride together.
yeah,
And then he was like, he said something, and I was like, "Oh, you know about me, right?"
yeah,
I wasn't sure if it's a cue from him.
yeah,
We're so connected in so many levels. So I thought,
yeah,
you know about me, right? I was like that. And he was
yeah,
like, "Huh? What do you mean? I don't know, but what is it?" And then I told him,
uh-huh.
it's shaky. And
Yeah, of course, yeah, yeah,
imagine running. Can you imagine marching at the parade and so proud of yourself? You have this placard,
yeah.
transgender and positive and proud, and there you are. I feel so what is this term? Hypoc hypoc uh,
Hypocritical.
critical to myself.
Yeah,
Like at that moment, so I told him I'm HIV positive, and then
mm,
he started asking me questions. His face from like that to
yeah,
curious, and I was like,
yeah, yeah,
he asked me, so are you gonna die? Those things,
yeah.
are you gonna die?
Um,
Are you all right? Do I have it as well? Like that. And I said,
yeah,
no. So every question he had, I had to answer it.
yeah.
And for him to tell me after a while, like he said, I think you should go home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he said to me, I think you should go home. I need
Mm,
some time to process this.
okay.
And
Uh-huh.
Luis, at that time,
Yeah,
I wanted to fight for it. Like, hey, listen to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Should,
yeah, yeah,
but also at the back of my head, I was like, okay, it's all right. He has the right
yeah.
to process the information, and if he needs the space, then I should give him the space. But after one
Mm,
month, we got back together. We talk about it, and
yeah.
the rest is history. But I remember that night I was crying on the way home. Like I was telling myself,
Mm,
yeah, basically I was telling myself I was out there proud fighting for me.
yeah.
Can't even fight for myself right there. But
Do you know, you are a flipping inspiration, right? And if there's any women out there listening, women, girls, ladies, it's so hard dating. Even if you haven't got HIV, it's hard. Even if you're not trans, it's hard. It's just hard. It's hard. And none of us want to get our hearts broken. None of us want to feel sad. None of us want to cry. None of us want rejection. We don't want that. So, what we do, we put up barriers or we stay in the safe zone.
yeah,
And for me, the safe zone was dating people that maybe I wasn't really interested, like really, but
you're not interested in, right? Yeah.
just to kind of be with somebody, maybe, but not really. And I think there is something about, and you're a testament to this, that when you love yourself, when you learn to love yourself, and sometimes you're forced to learn to love yourself.
True.
HIV forces you
Love
to love
yourself.
yourself. It
It,
forces you. And that's what you and I have in common. It forces us to love ourselves. And
yeah.
then when you start doing that, you start saying, well, actually, I'm enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so if somebody comes along and they reject us because of HIV, hurts so badly. But when somebody comes along and, and you're confident in who you are,
Yeah.
it's the sweetest.
I know you have a boyfriend or husband,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
don't you feel it like when it is like when you have someone like romantic,
Yeah.
say, it's such a
Yeah.
strong, there's so many support system we can get, but that kind of support is very strong as well. From that moment
Yeah.
when I spoke to him, when I told him about myself, and then about my HIV, my HIV status, and then after 1 month, then we got okay, and then everything was okay. Then from that moment, I started telling other people that I used to date before, and
Yeah.
if 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 they say something, I'm like, okay, okay. If
Yeah.
that's how you think it is,
Yeah.
I can feel sometimes the rejection, even if they don't.
Mm.
But it just makes you more confident from that point. Because before I was so scared to talk about it,
Yeah. Oh, I
especially
know.
the guy that I
Yeah.
dated. Yeah. So, but
Yeah. I think it makes life even more, what's the word? Exciting. And it's like, that saying, feel the fear and do it anyway.
yeah,
Have you heard that saying? Feel the fear and do it anyway. When you feel the fear of HIV, you feel that fear and then you do it anyway, meaning you put yourself forward to dating somebody
yeah.
and you do it anyway. It's so empowering.
And also not just that, it also makes you love. It also heals your relationship with sex.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Heals that because the wound started from that.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
we kind of denied a lot of some of the other women I've heard stories from. They kind of abstain from having a beautiful sex life.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
having that kind of love for yourself, and then having
Yeah.
someone who love you for everything that you are, it heals that relationship you have with sex,
Oh,
and it
you're
makes
so
sex
right.
even more exciting again.
Yes, you're so right. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because many of us women, you just go through life having sex. You,
Yeah,
you know, you just go through life having sex or not having sex and not really looking at your relationship with sex, but HIV forces you to do that as well,
yeah,
to really kind of look at that. And I'm in my menopause now, and I've also had to look at sex and what that means for me and my history with sex. And now I've done all of that. I'm having the best sex ever because I've really taken the time out to kind of reflect and really think about me, you know?
yeah. Well, I think I think it's well, it's a journey, right? I mean, um yeah, but I think it's one of the things that we should actually never forget, that just because we've done it from that action, that we should, forever not see ourselves doing it, because it's really one of the best thing. It is such an empowering thing. Sex is actually very empowering as well.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
We must enjoy it, we must embrace it,
Yeah.
we must explore ourselves still, and go back to how we used to before everything else, and just back to normal. Makes me feel like I'm back to normal, makes me feel sexy and beautiful.
You are sexy, you are beautiful, and I think you're amazing. And I'm so, so, so happy
So
that you came onto this podcast. I'm gonna kind of sign off, but I want to ask you, I want if there's somebody out there, um, darling, and they're listening to you right now, um, and they're a trans woman, and maybe they've found out they've got HIV and they feel lonely and they feel scared, what would you say to them?
well, first I would tell them to cry, just feel it, feel all the emotions that come with it. If you feel like you're angry, go be angry. If you feel sad, be sad. If you feel resentment, feel it. If you want to scream, scream. Allow yourself to grieve, to allow yourself to feel the emotions that you have at that moment. But never ever forget to get back up again and pick yourself up, you know, and remind yourself that it's just an emotion. After I feel all of this, I'm also allowed to feel happiness and joy and being hopeful. I'm allowed again to feel adventurous and and powerful. So just allow yourself the time to heal, to heal all the wounds that comes with it. And when you feel like you're ready, or even when you don't feel like you're ready, know that there's always help. Know that there's always help. Look for it, ask for it, seek for it, and help will come to you. And that you are not alone. You are not alone. There are also a lot of other people who knows what you're going through and who understands what you're going through, who feels what you're going through. You're not alone. You just have to get out there and look for those people, because that's where the healing starts. That's it. And I'm here. Honestly,
Yes.
we can find
How can people get in touch with you? Are you on social medias? What social
Yes,
media are you on?
I'm so honestly, because I would just want to say this to Louise.
Yes,
When
darling.
I was starting to deal with my diagnosis, I couldn't find anyone other than there's the two friends that I know. Even those two
Yeah.
friends that confessed to me about their diagnosis, I couldn't even message them.
Yeah.
I think it's important. That's why I put myself out there, because I think it's important that a young or another trans woman or transgender person can see themselves to another person. It's
Yeah.
just so, yeah. Send me a message when it comes out or anything, then I will try to connect, and I will do my best to connect you with every help that I can possibly give.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think
Thank
you're just wonderful. I really do.
Thank you. No,
Thank you.
honestly, thank you. I have seen all the videos that you were doing on your Instagram, and I thought, oh, just I want to be part of her, and I'm sure, you know, just I salute all of you to have the courage to do.
Oh, mutual respect here.
No, because you're giving so much of your time and your energy, and we're all working for the same
Yeah.
cause and
For the
purpose.
same thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So stay on. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we'll have a quick chat.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for watching Aunty Lou's Hour. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe.